Thank you. Shall I start?
Please start, sir.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very thankful to be in front of a distinguished group of vice chancellors and of ambassadors. Particularly thankful to Professor Khan, the chairman of Pakistan Higher Education Commission of Education that stretches out around the world. First of all, a small correction. I am an agroecologist and not the astrophysics colleague with an almost similar name at the University of Munich, but rather I'm coming from University of Kassel. I have a 15 years experience, actually 20 years of experience in working in Pakistan, and I'm very thankful for the joint research that about 15 PhD students from Pakistan that I was able to train and our group could do together. Today, I would like to introduce to you a new center of excellence in Germany that we have together with colleagues from around the world, and that is tackling an issue that is quite important, we feel, that's urbanity. What that is, I will introduce to you in the next 10 minutes. This does not work properly, let me see. What we see in front of us is major urban agglomerations. And we see contrasts around the world. People are flocking into cities. Rural-urban migration, rural-urban transformation is the human-made challenge of the 21st century. While in Africa, we are a little bit lagging behind. We are rapidly catching up, so the urban growth rate is much faster than it is in the major countries of Asia, where, of course, the population is already in cities quite at large numbers, generating a huge pool of resources into those cities and major sustainability questions. And it's these sustainability questions that make a functional understanding and international coordinated action of scientists and politicians very important. And Pakistan can play a role in this research as well as in the consecutive international actions. Rural-urban transformation is not a new topic. The earliest human settlements already showed the problem in sustainability of resource use and also in waste accumulation in centers around 8,500 years ago. So it's a problem, it's an issue, it's a phenomenon of humankind. But the speed at which the change occurs is alarming and needs interdisciplinary international scientific action. While in the medieval ages, European cities, for instance, but also Asian cities, one could show the same for the Indus Valley cultures, had a clear delimitation. There were city walls to protect the city against enemies. We have nowadays learned that we need to move away from those classical, from these ring-like structures that Dr. von Thünen in the 18th and 19th century. City boundaries have become much more flimsy. They actually reach out into the hinterland and create a huge footprint that is both important politically as well as ecologically and certainly also for world climate change. What we see when we go through a number of cities, and I show you here three examples, one Bangalore in India, Kumasi and Accra in Ghana, and Rabat Kenitra in Morocco, is very diffuse city fringes, fragmented space, and globalized linkages, as well as speedy, continuous transformation. Interesting enough, despite the different cultural and ecological settings, if we compare them by zooming in, there is quite a similarity in land use across the different cities. So there seems to be patterns that are overlaid by, of course, political decision and spontaneous actions of the middle class or investors, sometimes foreign investors, that disturb sometimes the picture, but there is processes and there is cause-effect relationships in resource use and in land and space utilization that merit study and understanding around the world in order to take proper decisions. If you look, for instance, here again at Bangalore and at Rabat Kenitra in Morocco, you see that it's not only the above ground view that allows us to determine those similarities, but it's the land and resource use that is strikingly similar at equidistances from the city center. Taking this into account, we have regrouped scientists. It's a total group of 40 scientists of excellent reputation from around the world, mainly in Germany, but also in India, Ghana, and Morocco, and the United States, to tackle this issue that we have called sustainable urbanity. We don't mean that urbanity, I will just come to the term, the melange between the rural and the urban, this flimsy distinguishing between different types of poles of urbanization, that is necessarily sustainable. No, but it offers options for sustainability that, if we understand those, merit proper political action. Urbanity thus refers for us to a condition, an attribute, and a result of an ongoing dynamic transformation process, a being and becoming that is characterized by rurality and urbanity at the same time. If you want to read more about what sustainable urbanity is and what potential it holds for sustainable transformations, then kindly be aware that there is a publication that just has come out in the well-reputed journal Sustainability Science, where we look at new modes of organization, resource use, and interaction with and adaptation to multiple constraints. The topic thus is an international one, and it is an interdisciplinary one. What we have regrouped among our colleagues are settlement scientists, agroecologists, data scientists, physicists, and climatologists, all looking together in three clusters that try to understand urban dwelling, urban land use, and then also abstraction and synthesis subjects that result from this international and interdisciplinary interaction. Once more, we are at the moment working in West Africa, in India, and northern Morocco. But if PHEC decides, we could also stretch out with activities into Pakistan and make Pakistan a member of an international community of science on this topic. We would then be sure that there is interactions even across the borders into India while being in separate entities so that we avoid political issues. Topics such as water quality, sprawling of slums, waste are key to understanding of the sustainability dimension of urbanization. But we will also address human health and congestion issues. Governance of resources is key. As you can see from this diagram here, there is a number of elite institutes around the world collaborating. We have, for the partners that are listed here, solid funding from the German Science Foundation, which is our basic research funding organization that very critically looks at the proposal. And we were selected from several dozens of proposals because of the international nature and the approach that tackles an important issue. What we use is a multidisciplinary, transdisciplinary approach where PhD students, postdocs, and faculties work together to understand the role of institutions, behavior, livelihood, and lifestyles flows and connectivity and endowment in place. And allow me in the remaining 5 minutes to give you an example of that. Let's briefly look at flows and connectivity. What is the scientific question? While we all know that flows of resources happen in multiple ways across different countries and may lead to disastrous ecological consequences, very few people have quantified those flows and their roles for sustainable land use. We have in the past done pre-studies in Africa. Here we have the example of Ouagadougou, where food flows have been measured. And what we see in this particular case, to the graph in the upper right, is nitrogen transfer in food as an indicator of the food itself. And it shows that 60% of the food comes from outside 400 kilometers. Even 50% come from more than 800 kilometers. So telecoupling plays a major role in resource use. Let's have a quick look at those onions that you see here. Where do they come from on the African market? They actually come from very far away, from the Saharan desert that you see here, 2,500 kilometers transported through the boundaries of Boko Haram and Al-Qaeda, small groups that are threatening security in the whole area. And there is sizable effects on the areas where they are being produced. So the city is connected to the far hinterlands. As Professor Chaudhary has just explained, we are living in a globalized world where people need to tackle problems together. And this is exactly the purpose of this research opportunities for young scientists from around the world to join. We have discussed the intention or the possibility of Pakistan, of PHEC also joining the consortium. And I have in the last 3 days before I left for the United States discussed with a few colleagues that are listed here. And again, the file is with the organizers of today's meeting, that there are colleagues in Germany who would be interested in contributing to PhD student education. They are from several universities, and topics could be in the social sciences, but also in the natural sciences, such as listed here. We have also looked at budgetary issues. Again, I will not discuss this here. This is something that has been straightened out, which could actually happen if Punjab Higher Commission of Education would decide within the next 6 months to go forward and allow a few young, gifted Pakistani students to join the team. Many thanks for your interest. The world is diverse, so is Pakistan. Pakistan has a contribution to make to global questions in science and education, and I'm sure that together we could make this world not only a better place, but also a more effective tool to exchange science in the framework of excellency in Southeast Asia and beyond. Thank you very much.